Welcome, my dear friends. It's great to see you again. I'm Stephen Clements, a writer, a gamer, and an appreciator of big brain activities in general. On this channel, I perform dramatic story readings, I provide role-playing game and movie reviews, and I get to talk to interesting people. And in this episode, we're getting back to that first mission of a dramatic reading. We're going back into the pages of my short story collection, Memphis Dirty, Tales from the Dirty South, to explore the short story called The Runner, co-written by myself and dear friend JT Davenport, nicknamed Spectre. And The Runner is the second part of the trilogy of stories in Memphis Dirty that starts with the Tea House of Vile Revolution, continues in The Runner, and finishes in part 3 with Bumpy Takes Over. The three form an arc of a crime story told from different perspectives and through different characters, with the violence endemic to Memphis city streets. And they escalate the risks and the villains involved as time goes on. And if you haven't heard the Tea House of Vile Revolution before, you don't have to have heard it to appreciate what's going on in The Runner, but it was the first dramatic reading I did for this channel. I'd recommend go check it out. And if the quality really needs some help, let me know that in the comments so I might do an update of it, because I want to present this material in the best way possible. So this is a longer one, so I'm going to break it up into parts. So now let's begin part 1 of The Runner. Maria Conchita Sanchez is a hot, fat-ass Latina chica. She's also a wallet-grabbing whore. This is her story, and how she made the world a better place. "What's up, baby?" asked Jatarius, his ebony skin gleaming with sweat under the bloated California sun. He was leaned back against his tricked-out ghetto sled, his propped-up Air Force Ones carelessly scuffing the paint job. Maria smiled coyly at Jatarius, walking slowly toward him in her platform sandals, making sure her smooth caramel legs lustered just right all the way up to her booty-hugging short skirt. She'd done this before to wannabe ballers with ice slung around their neck and platinum spinners that cost more than the car they were put on. She knew those poor sacks didn't even have to look above her waist to gladly lose all their cash to her. Let's face it, it's not hard to convince short guys who like to flex to drop some bread on hot bitches for some ass. Maria's problem was that she had plenty of ass, not so much cash. Now, before you condemn her for prostitution, just know that Maria prefers to think of it as theft with an appetizer of skeezy sex. It really works for both of them. Supply and demand, yo. It's all like economics up in this bitch. Jatarius bit his bottom lip when he smiled, his whole face lighting up with a treat coming closer to him. He stood up and moved aside, opening the heavy door for the lady. She smiled and looked up at him as she helped herself into the purple, fuzzy passenger seat. When the car door shut, she made a quick survey of the hoopty she found herself in. The shiny beads hanging from the rearview mirror were just plastic, not worth shit. The chrome 8-ball knob on the gear shift was obviously fake. No point in taking that. The windows were rolled down, so she doubted if this guy could afford to run the air conditioner. She'd have to be careful with this one. She knew she could kick his ass if she had to, but she didn't want to give away any of the goods to a broke bitch. So Jatarius got Maria in his caddy, and they cruised on down the strip. See, he had to set the stage, get the proper ambiance to tell her how much money he had and how good he'd be to her if she'd just let him up in that thing. He told her some tired lines about how special she was and how he was falling for her already, and that he'd show her how good it was to be with a real gangsta, like he told all the other girls who ate his guts now. Good thing for Maria was that he was so hopped up on the smell of his own shit, he had no clue that he was about to be had. She let him talk, listened so intently, and knew just when to say, "Oh, baby, you driving me crazy." She had learned how to make this soft moan that said both, "I love you," and "you feel so good inside me," that made every man melt. Maria might have problems, but a conscience ain't one. But like hell, she was going to give it up in this hood rat's car. She knew if they got nasty in his car, when he got done, he'd just drop her off somewhere, wink a kiss at her, and say he'd call her later, no cash. As she gently stroked his ear, she cooed, "Baby, take me someplace special. I want to do nasty things with you. I want to ruin some clean sheets with you." It was in the bag, he thought. "Aye, baby, it's cool," he said. "There's a party going on later at my boy's house. I chill with him all the time, up in the hills. It's gonna get freaky, though. My boy makes some movies with the hoochies getting it good. He's down. I smoke him up all the time." Now, this was much better. If Jatarius doesn't pay up, there will be plenty of other guys to shake down there. Jatarius drove Maria in his ghetto chariot to the magical palace of the Porn King when the sun retired from the sky. After the guard at the white gate checked them through, all seemed well, and they were greeted by the sight of 3 naked blondes being chased by one of the Kingpin's studs, jiggling their impossibly perfect proportions all the way. The green lawn was covered in blankets and games played by people who, even in their decadence, were far more respectable than Maria or her meal ticket. Good. Less competition. These bitches will throw it away for free. A tastefully sun-kissed white man with gray hair walked down the marble steps to the driveway, his perfectly creased white suit massaging him as he went. He smiled at the pair as he raised his right hand in salutation. "Jermaine, so good to see you. How are you tonight? And who is this delightful beauty you have with you?" he asked, moving his hand to take Maria's lotioned hand in his. Jatarius took the wrong name in stride and answered, "Yo, John, this is my new girl, Maria. I think she might be the one," he said, his greasy smile spreading. John, the pornographer, retorted, "If he doesn't happen to be your one, please let me know. I'd like to fill out my application for the job." He smiled as he pecked the back of her hand tastefully, and the look in his eyes made Maria relax. She knew he was a predator because he made his millions by having the insides of young women dogged out for the amusement of countless anonymous people around the world. But his eyes were beautiful, and she didn't get the feeling that he was sizing her up for market. He was a wolf, but this one couldn't eat another bite. "So nice to meet you, John. You have a beautiful home," she greeted him right back. Sometimes Maria dreamt of having a place like this for herself. She knew better than to make a go at John and try to take his, though. He would devour her and leave nothing for her to keep. She knew how to run a racket, but his game operated on a level she knew she couldn't compete on. But every other guy here would be a lesser man, and she would fuck them up for breakfast. "Well, thank you, Maria. But there's so much more to see. Come along, you two. Let me show you around and get you something to drink," John said, leading them through the gleaming doors. And so the old wolf charmed, and the young huntress watched, ever fearful that the master would take his prey. After a few drinks and lines of blow, though, everybody was everybody's best friend, like in real life. Maria played her part, charming in her own turn as they went, sizing up the gentleman here, and she and John even promised to work together someday. She drove a bargain, even as she had no intention of keeping it. But she remembered what she came here for: snatch Jatarius's bling and get the hell out. For those concerned about the wannabe hustler's feelings, he got what he wanted too. That night, Jatarius and Maria, like a newlywed royal couple, got snowed, drank, and fucked for hours. At the end of their entirely one-sided coital bliss, her man of the day lay passed out on the ruined, formerly white sheets after screaming his own name. There was no attempt at cuddling. The sounds of their lovemaking had gone silent, being replaced by the thumping of the disco music below. Maria lay still on top of the sheets, her naked candy skin beaded with his sweat. When his snores began to rattle the walls, she took that as her signal to get to work. She didn't get dressed right away. That might tip off anybody who caught her digging around. Step 1, check his pants. Maria rifled through the stubby, dirty jeans. Nothing worth having. They already did the drugs he had in there. Step 2, check his unbuttoned plaid shirt. A half-smoked joint. Nothing again. Shit. So he said this is the room he stays in sometimes. Step 3, check the drawers. Okay, loose change, lambskin condoms, lube, an Old Testament, rolling papers, and some little blue pills. Nightstand 1 down. Now nightstand 2. Finally, her mind thrilled at the find. Okay, platinum, diamonds, wallet-clipped rolls of bills, cocaine. Good. Time to grab and go. Maria grabbed up her purse, keeping her hands steady with a force of mind learned from having to be functional when her drug-addled body would rather go wild. A true professional knows how to operate under any condition. In 2 quick swipes, Maria emptied the drawer into her purse. The resonating snores continued, assuring Maria that her mark was blissfully oblivious to the thousands of dollars this piece of ass just cost him. This was a good night, the wildly unfulfilling sex notwithstanding. And she wasn't worried about John possibly getting upset by her stealing in his house. He was a fucking pervert and could burn in hell. Maria quickly pulled the rest of her clothes onto her tight body without bothering to tame her frazzled black hair. As she stalked out of the white marble and crystal mansion, she pulled out her tiny pink cell phone to call a taxi. On her way through the den, she noticed that the entire floor was covered with a blanketing of fluffy pillows and party animals who had passed out where they'd fallen. The 24 people lay in various states of dress and undress, coitus and non-coitus. Halfway across the room, she was startled by a sudden noise. "Hey, mama," called one of Jatarius's hood friends as he lay helpless on an overstuffed couch. His bleary eyes had only registered something female moving, not even having the strength to look at her. Even if he were sober, it'd take him 10 minutes to get out of that much cushion. The best he could manage now was, "Where you going? Oh, shoot, give me a tickle, Mama." Maria just looked over her shoulder and smiled, not having any more time to waste on these punk bitches. As she made it out into the perfectly kept grass, the operator picked up on the other end. "Hola, Felici taxi. Hola, necesito un taxi." It wasn't so much that Maria had gotten enough rest and was ready to wake up, as it was that her cousin Gabriella's cupboards were really loud and always slammed shut when closed. No matter how you tried to ease it down, it snapped that last inch and could piss off the dead. Gabriella wasn't the kind to care about that. Maria started moving slowly, propping herself up on her elbows as her puffy eyes struggled to open. She could tell it was about noon from the light of the sun coming through the beige towel placed over the high, long window running the length of the living room wall. Maria hadn't had a place of her own to call home in years, but Gabriella let her stay on the couch in her one bedroom. It's small, but it's shelter. Her cousin walked into the living room in her tank top and wrinkly pink shorts, her chubby thighs trembling while she carried an oversized bowl of cereal over to the love seat. The television clicked on hesitantly. "What time is it?" Maria asked weakly. 3:30, Gabriella said, as she crunched the multicolored sugary eats without pause. Still groggy, Maria moved the worn, grungy blanket off of her and stood to walk to the bathroom. She felt all the nastiness of last night clinging to her like scum on a dirty sink. Her head pounded, and she was sore, in some places not remembering why. She was lost in the misery of her head throbbing violently when a loud thumping came on the screen door at the far end of the kitchen. Maria groaned and walked to the bathroom, hoping for the thin walls to take the edge off whatever obnoxious vato was at the apartment door. She snatched her purse for the lotion she kept in there to ease her troubled skin. Maria closed the door to the small bathroom and held herself up over the sink. She needed to be steady now. She didn't turn on the lights because the weak light coming through the frosted window hurt enough as it was. The bathroom was all done in white, so it would light up miserably if she turned it on. She heard muffled voices at the door. Apparently, Gabriella decided to see who the asshole was. Figuring it wasn't any of her problem, Maria grabbed a hand towel and reached over to turn on the cold water and get about her business. Then the voices got louder. "Listen, you can't talk to me like that. This is my house, so you need to get on," Gabriella chastised. "I ain't telling your illegal ass again, bitch. Where's the hoe at? Oh, no, you didn't. You need to... Ah!" Gabriella's cry pierced the air. Maria looked up, her eyes staring back into her bloodshot orbs in the mirror. What the hell is happening? Two loud pops clarified the matter, and then a crash as the screen door was smashed in. "Oh my God, Gabriella! Oh my God, what happened?" Maria whispered to herself, suddenly terrified. As she heard heavy stomps enter the living room from the kitchen, her left hand automatically locked the bathroom door, seemingly on its own accord. She didn't think it, her body just did it. She knew she couldn't leave the bathroom to find out what had happened to Gabriella right now. She had a sick feeling in her stomach, but she already knew. But fuck it. Grabbing her purse, she reached over to the frosted white window and pulled the latch to open it as far as it would go. The hot, dry air rushed in on her from the outside, the sun hurting her panic-widened eyes. With the window swinging to its widest point, Maria slipped out, her flesh squeezed as she pulled through. Her soft hands felt the bite of the white plaster on the side of the apartment, but paid it no mind. The jiggling of the locked door handle gave her all the incentive she needed to not care about such a petty, transient thing as pain. She hit the rough concrete and scrambled to keep moving. A kick at the bathroom door reverberated out of the room, and the violence behind it carried its full weight to Maria's ears. Her eyes darted around, looking for some place to hide for a moment. But fuck this neighborhood! There's nothing big enough for her to hide behind! Another kick of the flimsy door convinced her it was time to just run. Damn it, if they shot her in the back in the open, she could take a chance or have no chance at all. The door crashed open behind her, and she heard the angry cursing as her hunters entered the room. 3 hoodlums were hot on her trail, her bare feet carrying her quickly away from the slow thugs who were struggling to pull up their sagging pants as they chased after her. The pursuit was intense as every step, every breath that flew in and out of her lungs moved through her mind like a stop-and-go slideshow. Maria's mind analyzed every second to see which way to run, to check if there was a way out, bracing for the impact of a round finding its mark and knocking her to the pavement. They had been chasing her for blocks when she decided to cut a corner, thinking she had enough of a lead to be able to disappear. Turning the corner, she saw a wide open boulevard in the hard sunlight, and no other corners she could dodge past to give them the slip. The few open shops had almost completely glass storefronts, offering her no concealment from their eyes. But there was a dumpster on the side of the road. With all the adrenaline coursing through her veins, she vaulted into the giant box and pulled the lid down over her. In the dumpster, Only sound she could hear was her heavy breathing, echoing hollow in the grimy container. It took a few moments for her to become aware of the dull roar of the garbage truck trundling towards her. A fresh new panic gripped her insides as she felt the dumpster being lifted into the air, and her and the fetid contents slipping and rotating towards the back of the truck. She clawed desperately for any handhold to grip in the container, but joined the slop in the bed of the truck anyway. To hell with those guys and their damn guns, she thought, as she furiously scrambled her way up to get out of the truck bed before it compacted her to become one with the wet cigarette butts and half-empty Diet Coke bottles. She pulled herself over the tailgate before she was destined to be recycled, the strength and speed born of a certain death edging ever closer. Black spots clouded her vision as she landed feet first on the road, and she stumbled back against the truck as she caught her breath. She saw her pursuers pulling up their pants, walking away. One of the garbage men jogged over to her, his eyes wide in alarm. He asked Maria something in a distant, concerned voice that her mind just didn't care to grasp onto. His words limply pressed against her senses, but found no purchase. She stumbled away from the dump truck, then dizzily walked away from the scene. And that is the first part of The Runner. Hope it caught your interest, because there's more to come. And if you enjoyed this, please give it a like and give the channel a subscribe. I have a lot of other original stories that I read on here, as well as those that inspired me. And I think other people need to hear them too. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so please drop those in the comments below. I read and respond to every one of them. And until I see you again for part 2 of The Runner, my dear, dear friends, as we part for now, I wish you nothing but the best.